We've been thinking about it now for almost a year.
Yep.
Just said, fuck it, let's start it.
Good.
Let's see where it takes us.
So what motivated you guys to actually start this?
I guess for us, honestly, it's like we do like putting out content, and it's like honestly gives us another way for us to bring value to other people. So it's like, for example, we have people like you coming on the podcast, and they hear things like what we've been talking about for the past 2 hours, and like they're, as long as somebody learns something from it, because we learned something from it, so as long as like we can provide what we're learning to other people, it's like that makes us feel good.
And the fact that I guess like our big thing is now I guess getting guests on, and the fact of people who've been seeking success, who've been successful. The fact that we got to pick your brain for 2 hours, got to know you, made the connection in that sense, and now people as well who are gonna listen to it, they have something to take away from it, 100%. And they kind of see to what we're thinking when we're talking to other people. So the people our age are listening, they can now see how we're going about talking to you guys, successful people, right? 100%. So that's again just bringing the value and we've been thinking about it now for almost a year. Just said, fuck it, let's start it. Good. Let's see where it takes us, right? Good. Let's see where it takes us.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, guys? You're back on another episode of the Seeking Success podcast. Today we're here with our first ever guest, Steve Kirk.
Big shout out to Steve Kirk. Thank you for letting us come through and recording this episode. It's gonna be great. So
guys, thanks so much for having me. I didn't even realize I was the first guest. So
yeah,
I'm actually pumped about that.
Pretty special, eh?
That's awesome, dude. I feel I feel elite, but no, seriously, like the energy you guys have been bringing to the industry on your social, everything. It's just been super impressive. Like I love you guys. So
we appreciate it.
No, really happy to be here.
Back at you. Like if you didn't know, Steve Kerr is a real estate agent. He has Vendetta. He owns Vendetta Media. Like he has a plethora of things that he does, and he's just an amazing guy all around.
Yeah, if you want to introduce yourself, go for it.
Yeah, sure. So I mean that kind of covers it. So I wear a couple different hats.
Yep.
One of the brands that I run is Steve the real estate guy. We do real estate within Durham region and pretty much throughout the GTA.
Yep.
And then I also own Vendetta Media Group, as you guys know, but for the people watching, Vendetta Media is an all-inclusive marketing solution for anywhere from small personal brands all the way up to large scale corporations. And essentially it's kind of you can think of it as like a Staples That Was Easy button for the marketing industry. So whatever is needed from graphic design all the way to content creation on social media, we take care of that.
Amazing. And again, we'll have their accounts tagged and everything, so be sure to follow them and check them out. But yeah, I guess we'll get into it with the questions.
Can't wait.
I know that we connected through real estate, and in that sense, of course, our brokerage CLC being partnered with you and everything. But my first question, I guess, to start off is, how did you even start with real estate? How did that become an interest with in yourself?
Yep.
And then how did you even go about becoming a realtor and kind of that whole process?
For sure. So basically, what ended up happening? I mean, do you want me to rewind kind of right to the beginning?
Go for it.
Give us a drop.
So basically, after high school, I was one of those guys who was like super lost. I just did not know exactly what I was trying to do. It just felt like there was something more that I wanted to accomplish. I also came from a pretty small town, so kind of one of the realities with small towns is you're limited in terms of the exposure that you have.
That's very true. Very true.
With parents that I have, parents that I talk to now in my peer group, I try and really express to me the importance of just making sure that your kids are seeing all different walks of life. Now, with that said, there is nothing wrong with going a blue collar route, going a white collar route.
Yep.
Like I have no preference in that. It's really all about you and what's going to make you happy. And I know people that are very successful on all sides. Yeah. But the unfortunate reality, when you're kind of in a small town, you only get exposed to kind of that blue collar business. So everybody, my theory is when you're coming up, generally people emulate success, and I think that is just an evolutionary situation. So what I saw as successful, all the people around me that were kind of the most successful in this small town worked at like General Motors, they did labor, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So after high school, that was kind of my plan. It was like, I'm going to go work at General Motors. I'm going to work there for 30 years. I'll be Steve. I get home about 5:30 and crack a six-pack. And that was really what I saw for my life, because I really didn't see other options.
Yeah.
Right.
And to be honest, I've never even taken that in within the small town exposure, I guess, where you're limited to kind of what you see. Again,
100%.
I myself growing up in Oshawa, it's a small city, I guess you could say, right? But I grew up in the sense of I was always exposed to economics, anything as such, and then again, people within my school, high school, whatever. They all came from different paths, so I kind of saw it all in that sense.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a different perspective to look at it, where, you're kind of thinking of that as success, where now that you've been exposed, it's a complete different definition, right?
And it's actually crazy to think about, like, the different perspectives that people may have, because
definitely,
like, growing up and, like, you only know, like, what you're really exposed to and, like, your experiences. Like, you can't change that yourself unless
100%.
like, you're exposed to something different. So it's kind of amazing to see, like, you go from that to where you are now.
Oh, 100%. That's inspiring.
Well, thanks. It's quite honestly, it's just a lot of hard work. But the reality of that, it kind of put me in a situation where I felt kind of lost, because it was like the things I was doing, I wasn't getting that fulfillment that I realistically was looking for. And I think anyone should be looking for when you're talking about something like your career. This is your life.
Exactly. That's 40 plus years that you're going to spend working and actually grinding towards.
That's it.
Like, when you pass away, that's people are knowing you as, basically.
Yeah, almost a legacy, right? You can look at it as a legacy, especially 100%. Within business and kind of the route you've taken. It is a legacy.
It's a huge part of it's your legacy. It's a huge part of your identity while you're actually doing it. So it's just super important to make sure that you're that you're happy. And once again, I want to be super clear. Regardless of which path you end up doing, it's just about making sure that you're fulfilled, you're motivated, you're excited when you wake up. Because I've done those jobs when I was in kind of that lost period, where I just fucking hated my life. Like, it was. I'm assuming we can swear on here.
Yeah, of course,
100%.
I just fucking hated my life, man. It was it was brutal. So. What ended up happening, so I started fulfilling my destiny of working in factories, and it kind of was doing that, bounced around different labor jobs, really like bounced around a lot of different things, and then completely accidentally, and I mean completely accidentally, I was probably 19, maybe 20, but in and around that age.
Again, around our age right now that he's speaking at. So this is going to be definitely interesting.
So this kind of morning will probably sound familiar to you. So I drank entirely too much at my friend's house, passed out on his floor. And I was taking the bus home afterwards, and I hopped on the bus, and my buddy Josh, that I hadn't seen since high school, was just randomly there, and he worked for a company called Direct Energy, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. People I'm sure watching will be, but literally it was a door-to-door sales, walking up, hitting doors, but he was making fucking money, man. Like he was actually making cash doing it.
And especially at that age, like I know Khalil and I are in that sense too, where you start seeing your friends starting to make a lot of money, and you're like, you get intrigued, right? But it kind of changes your perspective too. You're like, they're my age, they making money. I can do this too, right?
Exactly. You also have a different set of motivators at that time, specifically girls.
Yeah.
At 19, you can't date high school girls, and all the girls your age want to date like 25-year-olds. So you got to compete with these dudes with like Beamers and actually legit jobs. So
we're literally in this stage.
I had to compete with you two. Like how am I going to do that? I had acne. I was fat. It's just not going to work. So, anyways, randomly met up with him, and we're just shooting the shit and talking. He told me about this this new gig he was doing, and he seemed to be doing well with it, and he was making cash. So I was like, all right. So what do I got to do?
Definitely.
Yeah. It was door to door. It was straight commission. There was no interview. You just showed up, and they were like, "Sure, you can. You can work. Any dirtball could work there." Like it did not matter.
That's crazy.
So, anyways, I went, started with that with that job, and dude, it was like the sales school of hard knocks. So there was an expectation that you knock 150 doors a day.
A day?
150 a day. And that number went down depending on how many deals that you actually got, right?
That's a lot of walking.
It was crazy. It was good for burning.
I'm just gonna put this into perspective too. For like even realtors who are door knocking, I don't think they're even doing 100 doors.
No,
and you're doing
no. I hear metrics on that now. Granted, a lot of those were pretty quick conversations because you were just getting doors slammed in your face. There was a lot more. People were a lot more aggressive towards you than probably as a real estate agent.
As soon as they open that door, they instantly have their answer.
That's it. And at that time, so what Direct Energy was like they did these fixed rate gas contracts. So it was a good deal for some people not so much, depended on the circumstances. But at the end of the day, they were bombarded because there was like so many people that were hitting them. So they were not happy. Sometimes I'd go there and I was literally the fourth guy from the same company that had been there that day, right?
You guys didn't have like specific neighborhoods or anything?
None of that.
Okay.
And you also had different offices where it's like an office from Toronto might hear about like a hotspot in Oshawa, so they pop over pop over here. So literally there were times where you were like the third, fourth guy. And this isn't like the most organized crew in the world. Sometimes it might have been a guy that I was with. I can't come and tell it lately. Like we were literally just a bunch of maniacs trying to run around, hustle. But we had a guy basically running the show there, and his name was Brian Marcellus. I don't think he's going to hear this. If he does, Brian, thank you. If you do, huge. Brian was a really unique individual. Okay. And one of the most valuable lessons that I think I learned from him and that he showed me is selling with empathy, selling with honesty, and making sure that you're actually serving the people that you're that you're selling, and not just walking up to those doors with dollar signs.
Yeah, just providing value.
Exactly. He also introduced me to some old school kind of real estate, or not real estate, like sales coaches like Zig Ziglar, Joe Girard, stuff like that. So he was really big on that, and I find even today, I'm one of very, very few salespeople that has actually studied sales, like studied it like it's a course. And all the books at my place are all between business and business sales. And then eventually that turned into marketing because I had that realization that marketing is just selling at scale.
Yeah.
So I got excited that I can sell to 1 million people instead of just one at a time, right?
And that literally, like, again, from that, you being 19, 20 in that age where... Again, maybe that job didn't make a direct impact to where you are today, but... It did. It did. My point proven, though. My point proven. Because the facts, the sales, the skills you've learned within sales and the stuff now, you still hold value to what you learned then today, right? Yep. So, again, that's the whole path of what our podcast is called, Seeking Success. Even back then, you were still on the path of seeking success.
It was a very misguided...
Definitely.
Like no idea where the fuck I was going, but that was.
But it's funny to see how, again, back then you had no clue where this picture is going to play into 100%. Your whole, like, the bigger picture, but that actually made a pretty big impact within what it is today, right?
And it's kind of crazy because like that's what back then you didn't realize what you were going to get into. Obviously, like, a couple years later, but. That was literally like the stepping stones for you getting where you are now.
That's it.
And the definition has never been true within that sense. Everything happens for a reason. What are the chances you see your high school friend on the bus? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
random, man.
That's so random,
I shouldn't
right?
have even been there.
Right?
It was an accident that that I was on that bus. So super random. So. What actually ended up happening there? So like I said, we're knocking 150 doors a day, just nonstop grind, nonstop hustle. We're talking minus 40. We're two coach. Shut the fuck up. Like there was no whining on this team. Okay. Like it didn't exist.
Okay. Damn.
So really hardened you up. And you would go, and let's keep in mind a successful day. A very successful day. So I'll break down all the numbers. We made $60 a deal, right? So at 19, if I sold 5 a day, I made $300. I was happy. And that was all I needed, man. I would do like 4 hours, make my $300 and just go home. Man. That was it. So so that was all I was really looking for. So still kind of had that misfit attitude where I wasn't focused on like, where can we take this? Where can this actually go if you apply some hustle and really apply some grind? But so that was pretty much it. Now probably the worst job ever. Like in the sense that you would like completely exposed to the elements, people telling you to fuck off. Literally, you think about 150 and you're trying to get 5. So
that's crazy.
Probably 100 of them, maybe 50 of them just weren't home. Another 50 of them literally told you to like slam doors in your face. And then there was another group that was just already with direct energy. And then after that, there was these 5 that actually said yes. So you took a huge like psychological beating, and it really made you tough psychologically, which I'm super thankful.
You need that, yeah, exactly. You need that growing up.
They do say like hard times create strong men, right?
Yeah,
that's it, right? Like it made you wiser, it made you probably stronger, and mentally too. That's a big thing, right? It's all mentally.
And honestly, one thing I could see happening to you is like, say for example, you're going to those doors and you're hearing like multiple of like the same answer. You kind of like almost learn how to like adapt to that answer and work around, like literally just learning experiences the whole time.
Very much so. Yeah, and no, it really was a definite experience. But the one thing that taught me that I've really taken through my life that I think super valuable is you can condition yourself to anything. And as soon as this is like a David Goggins quote, but callousing your mind and getting the bitch out of you is so important, man, because at the end of the day, it's really easy to follow that path of least resistance and live a really squishy, soft life. The reality is you have to go hard if you're actually going to do something. And like we talked about before, when we're talking about your career, your legacy, your reputation, all of these different things, we have one life. It goes by super fast. And if you're just going to sit around the house being a bitch, like there's no point. To me, there's no point. So
I completely agree.
If that makes you happy, that's one thing. But if you're really trying to make something of yourself, you need to understand that you need to condition your mind to withstand the rejection and all of these different things that you are going to encounter on that path to success. No one's done it easily.
And if you guys don't take anything away from this podcast, please rewind the past 45 seconds and re-listen to that, because just take that in. That's insane.
It's big.
It's again, me and Khalil preach big. Seek discomfort, right? When you start seeking discomfort and kind of leaving your personal space, personal bubble, you'll actually realize the things that you want are pretty close in reach, right?
Yeah, they're not hard. It just takes it's just doing those things to get you farther in life. And like he said already, like your mind is like the number one thing stopping you from getting to where you are. So it's like you really have to learn to take control and use your mind to your advantage.
That's it, man. And I always liken it, and I find a lot of people don't make this comparison because they treat their mind very differently than their body.
That's it.
It's no different than going to the gym, man. The first time you go, 100 pounds is heavy.
Exactly.
After you've been going for a couple of years, it's nothing. You know what I mean? Right? So you just condition yourself to be able to handle whatever life throws at you. And after you've dealt with 50 people telling you to fuck off every day for like 3 years, there's not a lot that'll shake you.
That's very true. It becomes second nature, and rejection is just a piece of cake at that point, right?
And as soon as you have that and you're instilled in your mind, that's with you for life.
That's it.
So it's like
100%. So my thing with that job, I did for a while, and then I was doing it for a couple of years, and you start going, okay, like we got to do something else.
Definitely. What's next, right?
That's it. And then I ended up randomly like rolling my ankle when I was like on the job, and I was just off work for like 3 weeks. Couldn't work.
Okay.
I also ended up getting my wisdom teeth out, and they botched the surgery. Gave me like this golf ball in my cheek, so I couldn't talk. So I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. So these two things happened really close together. And I was kind of like, okay, I will never be comfortable paying a mortgage with this job. I will never be comfortable even having car payments with this with this job. I need to look for something else. So let's go back to our default. We're going back to factories. Okay. We're going back to our path.
By the way, I have to get my wisdom teeth out soon. I'm kind of scared now.
Yeah, it sucked, dude. It sucked. But I'm sure you'll be fine. I think it was just they from what they said, they just randomly botched it. I don't know what it was, but it was shit, man.
No, sorry. So you're at factories there now?
Yeah. So went back kind of to that to that original path, because I was this once again. My exposure to sales was this. Mm-hmm. That was it. To me, sales was knocking doors and getting told to fuck off.
No, that's true.
That was it, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, that was all good. Went and started working like a real job.
Okay.
Bounced around a couple different things. I did construction. And then I started working at this wood shop, and I was basically a painter.
So what age was this?
This is now like 22, 23.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So fast forward like 2-3 years from the from when I started at Direct. So, anyways, basically started doing that. Now, when I was doing that, I was wearing a full gas mask, so I can't speak to anybody. Tyvek suit. I'm on an assembly line just spraying furniture. And, like, I had to buzz somebody if I wanted to go to the bathroom. It sucked. There was no freedom to it. And it was almost this feeling, the only way I can describe it is, and I don't mean to be, like, egotistical about this, but it felt like there was a gift that was being wasted, where it was like, hey, I'm good at this. I can make a career out of this. They're really happy with me. But it feels like there's this aspect of my mind that is not being utilized, and I know I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
Like I know, based on what other people were doing around me, I know I'm really good at this.
Definitely. And I'm glad you recognize that, because a lot of people, even from what I've witnessed the past maybe even year, like a lot of people will have a vision, they'll have a talent, I said, but they won't actually go towards it. They won't take action to conquer it, right?
That's so true. And if there's so you have two. You have the left side of your brain and the right side of your brain. One's creative and one's like logistical. Right. So you almost were like saying like, I feel like I'm not using like the creative side of my brain, and I need to like. It was almost like bothering you that it's not being utilized.
You have that vision, right?
Exactly. You seem like a very creative person. No, not even feel like you are a very creative person. And it's like, and I'm glad that you recognize that.
That's it. That's what it comes down to too. A lot of people don't want to recognize too what's in front of them, right? The opportunities, the chances they actually can take, and the risks that might actually pay off, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
as
now we get to the risk part.
Okay.
Because so what I was doing this job for a year, and the way this place worked is like every 3 months you would get a different raise, and they were pretty significant, but you like kind of maxed out at the year mark. But you would get like, it was something like $250 an hour more every quarter or something like that. But then it stopped really quickly.
Still, at that age, I'm sure you're taking it, right?
Well, keep in mind, minimum wage was like $6.45, I think. Dude, it was disgusting.
And sorry, I guess if you have a year, like what year would this have been? Just so people.
Yeah, no. Well, I guess we're rewinding about 15 years ago.
Okay. Around like 2000, 2005.
Exactly.
And sorry, what city did you grow up in again?
Oh, I grew up in Curtis. So just outside, but Curtis was a super different city.
And again, everyone, like, you guys have to take in the time period of this being, it's a, like, again, 15 years ago where, again, the GM plant was booming. That was at the absolute, like, center of Oshawa even, right?
Literally.
And just times were different. Honestly, like...
Let's put it in perspective. You couldn't text yet.
Oh, okay.
You could not text yet.
That tells it all.
If I got a girl's number, I got her landline, and I called her parents' house and asked if I could take their daughter.
I remember in elementary school calling girls' landline. Your parents would answer.
Me and Nolan are pretty sure, like this is probably around the year like me and Nolan actually first met, so probably like kindergarten.
Right. Yeah, we're talking like 2004, 2005, something like that.
So just to put that in perspective though for everyone, that's kind of the time period that we're playing with.
So so basically that was how it worked. So I was at my year, I was coming in for my final raise, and I had been probably for like 2-3 months really been sitting there like fighting this with myself, going like, logically I should stay here, this is the smartest move, what are you going to do otherwise?
Definitely.
But just could not shake that feeling that I was talking about before, where it just felt like this kind of gift, or at very least ability, was really being wasted at this job.
And once that feeling kind of hits, it's hard to overcome. You can't just put it away,
it's tough, and you need to make sure that it's logical.
That's very true.
If you take somebody who's a little egotistical or a little too high on themselves, they might start thinking they're better than they actually are. So you need to be very self-aware. But if you're looking at everything and that's the conclusion that you've come to, I mean, you got to do something.
I agree.
I went in, had a meeting very, very much like very much like this. Steve, you did a great job. We want to give you these additional responsibilities. We want to do this. Slid over my contract for my raise. Congratulations. And I sat there looking at this thing, just going like, it's about to get $2.50 an hour harder to fucking quit this job.
Okay.
It's every dollar more I go up, it's harder to find a job that subsidizes
that's
it, right?
so true. That's so true.
And that's super hard. When you're going back in lifestyle, that's super, super difficult.
That's a good point.
I didn't allow myself to go up at all in lifestyle. I literally was like, guys, I'm sorry, I can't do this. They probably thought I had a stroke. Like, I sat there looking at this thing for like 30 seconds without saying anything. And then I slid it back and I was like, guys, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm done. That was it. I'm in the moment. Yeah, I'm in a meeting for them to give me a promotion. Like, that's what's happening. So we're having this meeting to give me a promotion. I was like, guys, I'm sorry. I just can't. So then they were obviously all confused, as anybody would be, and they were great people, by the way. Just to be super clear, they were great. It was just the role wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So they were like, Steve, like, we're giving you a promotion. You're giving us your 2 weeks notice. I was like, oh no 2 weeks notice. Like, I'm leaving. I'm
okay.
out.
So
I got out. I walked out, hopped in my car, went home. Put on a shirt and tie and wrote up a resume in like 10 minutes, and then I just started ham bombing this thing out. This is before email was really like super prevalent. Like it was still more old school.
Like coming in,
like so I was like, fuck it, I'll just go into these individual places. What do I know how to do? Knock doors. So I just did that to find a job, right? I just knocked doors for a day.
Okay.
Ended up finding this telemarketing gig. And found this job, and just that got me back into sales.
Okay.
Very similar kind of sales that I was doing before with Direct Energy, but it got me back into it, and instantly, the only way I can describe it is like I felt like I was home. Like that's the only way I can describe it. Is it just felt like I was home now.
I'm assuming then when you actually kind of took in, like, you know, this is somewhat. I like this.
This
right?
is 100% coffee, by the way.
Of course. So when that kind of happened, you were like, you know, this is, if I like this, what's kind of the next step, I guess? What can I explore? What are my options, right? Is that kind of when, though, it all hit you, when you kind of all took it in, like, you know, maybe I could do this?
Well, yeah, that was the point where I was like, I think I'm good at this, and I think I can figure this out.
Okay.
And you also started seeing at that point, people started doing different things.
Yeah.
People stopped like working their McJobs and stuff like that.
I'm getting the picture. I'm getting the picture.
Yeah, because you know, at 19, most people are still like at their high school gigs.
Of course,
and stuff like that. Right?
Even on myself, I'm still at the same job right now that I was in high school. Right?
It just is what it is. What it is. Yeah. So, it's an interesting time in your life. Where how old are you guys again?
20.
I literally just turned 20.
Okay.
What was it? Friday. Literally.
Oh, no way. No way. So what was that? October
23rd.
Okay, I'm October 18th. Except I turned 37.
Let's go. October birthdays are where it's at. That's crazy.
So anyways, yeah, it's an interesting age that you guys are at in terms of finding your path. I'm so impressed by you guys because you guys are so much further ahead than where I was at 20. Like it's super impressive, man.
Thank you 100%. But it is too, like, the time era too, you know, it's a little bit different in time where
it's a little different.
Like now we can just go on the internet, right? Where it's not as prevalent back then. But still, I know a lot of people, even our age, they're still not even taking in the opportunity that the internet provides them. So,
and to
us,
that, even,
thank you.
To us, even, it's like we feel like we're not like farther enough.
Yeah. But that's our own pressure. Right?
Yeah.
That's how you have to be almost, right? But
I find way too many people on podcasts spit out too many Gary Vee quotes, but I think one thing he says that's very, very true is you need patience on the macro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you also need to operate with urgency in the day-to-day. You have to get your shit done. You can't act like you're not going to die. But it's
like that balance. It's like weird.
100%.
And us trying to find the balance has kind of been the struggle, we could say, for sure.
Honestly, that's what it's been for us. It's like finding that like balance.
Right. And what do you mean the balance between?
So it's like what? Almost like
between the patience and the
not feeling as we've accomplished enough, but also realizing we're still on the right path. It's just hard to. Sometimes, you know, we just overdo ourselves in that sense. Right?
You know what I'm obsessed with, and I think where a lot of that feeling comes from is a lot of times when you see successful people, it looks like there was this one thing that really put them on. You know what I mean? This one thing that got them going.
Yeah.
What I'm obsessed with, and when you really dissect anyone who's successful, is the aggregation of marginal gains. And what I mean by that is every day waking up and trying to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm going to run a little further when I work out. I'm going to eat a little better today. I'm going to work a little harder. I'm going to get a little bit more done. Once again, going back to that gym mentality of just constantly trying to like grow and build and move forward. If you look at most of those successful stories that were like overnight successes, there was a huge aggregation of marginal gains that happened for 10 years before.
Yeah.
Right? They were just constantly getting better. So very few people, like there's lottery winners that you can talk about that definitely got lucky, but very, very few people really got lucky. They usually put themselves in a situation where they were prepared to be lucky.
And so
if that
like,
makes sense.
You have to constantly be like aiming to gain 1% each day. And it's like the compound effect. It's like,
100%, man.
You won't see the results right away, but over time you'll see drastic changes in your lifestyle. For example, like the gym. Like that's what we pride ourselves on. So it's like we make sure we're consistently going to the gym. So it's like that gives us something to like we're gaining 1% each day basically.
That's it.
And again, like we look at it too as if you started the gym even again, it doesn't have to be at the gym, but I guess we'll just use that as an example. Where let's say you start the morning with that, you're doing 1% gain. The rest of the day, you're only going to follow with gaining more and learning more, right?
That's exactly. It, man. And it becomes addictive, too.
It does.
You start seeing yourself, once again, going back to the gym, you see those results, you want to fucking get back there.
Exactly.
Like it's one of those things. Speaking of which, I've been letting that go. COVID's been tough. So,
but yeah, sorry, back to...
No worries. I don't even know where I what was on
so you just finished the factory job.
Yes.
You're about to take some risks.
Started doing the telemarketing job. So went from there, worked there for a little bit, and then I jumped over and actually once again super randomly went and found this a friend of mine or someone I knew. No, they had just opened this new gym, Premier Fitness.
Okay.
Up at like Ritson and Taunton.
That's crazy. That's crazy because that one is what they turned LA into.
Yeah,
so it's like
exactly.
Premier Fitness and now it's LA.
And I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that back.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the spot. So they had just opened that.
Yeah.
Went and talked to them and literally just walked up. They ended like I ended up talking to the manager, really got like shoved around on it, and then I went back and I was like, sometimes you just have to be sometimes you just have to let people know what your real intention is.
That's
there.
true.
Of course, no.
And I just went back and talked to the manager. I was like, look, I understand what you guys said. I know you have staff. I know you have this. I know you have that. I need you to understand what my intention is. And it's to make you look fucking good, man. And they ended up making me a spot. And that was also a huge lesson in a lot of people, even when they approach me about something, they come and talk to me about what I can do for them. And it's like, okay, like don't get me wrong, I'm a nice guy, but like I'm busy. You know what I mean? Like, what else are we doing here?
I couldn't hear the sales aspect into everything like you're saying.
Yeah, man. So there, I really went in and let them know it's like, hey, this is a sales job. This isn't a cost center. I'm not. If I'm not producing, you don't really have to pay me. And I promise I'm going to come in here and produce in a way that you haven't seen before, and that's what that's what I committed to, man, and really lit it up. Just pushed as hard as as hard as I could, and did pretty well with it. I definitely did right by that commitment that I made when I went in there. So went there, really quickly became the sales manager at their Skydome Rogers Center. It was Skydome at the time, yeah. So they had a Skydome club, which was badass. Because I used to literally like the concession areas and stuff. I could go run laps there. That was my like training area. Like it was super cool. It was really really badass.
That's insane.
But yeah, so we went there. And then jumped over to, and then I went to Kingston for this pre-sale, and they put me up in a hotel for like 4 months. So at this point, I'm like 23, 24, went there. And then I kind of hit a point where I was just like, okay, like all that was left was to go back to that Oshawa club that I had started at. And that just felt like progression that I've done at the company. We've done this pre-sale. I know I'm not supposed to be in Kingston for forever. So then the next step was going back, and it just felt like I wasn't really into it at that point.
That's
right?
good.
No,
understand. As soon as you realize like you're setting yourself back in a sense, you're ready to like, no, what can I do to keep myself going forward?
That's it. So still pretty young. I'm like 24, I think, at that time. Went to Calgary just randomly because I was just whatever. Like I had some buddies go out there, so I moved to Calgary, lived there for 6 months. Not a fan. Not a fan. Yeah, not a fan. Of Calgary.
We're actually like within probably towards the end of the year. We're trying to go there.
Oh, really?
At least a week, 2 weeks. Just go
skip it. We go to Vancouver.
Honestly, we have 2 friends that are going out
there.
No
offense, Calgary. No offense.
It's crazy because we have 2 friends going out there. And we're like, you know what? Honestly, by like January, we want to just go out there for like a week at least.
Right.
See something different.
You know what I'd recommend? Calgary. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had actually, quite honestly, it felt like something was trying to push me back. I don't really believe in those like cosmic forces, but it felt like something was trying to push me back because I had the biggest run of shit luck when I was in Calgary. Just one thing after another. I was just like, I hate this place. But in all fairness, Calgary, it wasn't so much their fault. It was just like this run of bad luck that I dealt with, and then it was just like, I'm going back to Toronto.
Learning experiences, anyways.
Yeah. So when I went back there, though, so then I moved back here, and when I came back here, I was so determined that I was going to. I was so determined that I was actually going to just make a career for myself in a proper sales environment. Mm-hmm. So I met with a recruiter, kind of explained my intentions once again. Recruiters are really valuable for young people looking for jobs and stuff like that because now you have somebody with a vested interest in you getting a job. They only get paid if you get the job. Mm-hmm. So they're coaching you through it. They're helping you. At that age, they're helping with your resume. They're doing all that stuff. So I was lucky enough to meet up with a pretty good guy who actually helped me out quite a bit. And then I went into corporate sales, and we moved from there. So suddenly, all of a sudden, I was in this like big boy job, and I wore a suit every day, and I had the biggest case of imposter syndrome. Like I did not feel like I was supposed to be there. And then basically went through corporate sales. Went from there, started working for within the banks. Then I also worked with. Worked for this startup company that did like large-scale office supply contracts.
Okay, so how old were you at this point?
25 when I started the corporate sales.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, so this is taking you from like 25 to 30.
Okay, yeah.
And then I started this last job, and it was just I had this realization that when you work for a corporation, someone needs to give you permission to be successful.
That's so true.
That
I agree.
No, and that was my problem, and that was the thought that started eating at me. And then I also started looking at people that were 10 years, 15 years ahead of me in this in this career, and you start kind of weighing out what you're actually going to be doing. Yeah. So now I'm sitting there going like, okay, so I'm doing good at this. Like I excelled. They gave me a territory that was 90th in the country out of 130, I think it was, 120, 130. I brought it to number 1 in 3 months. Like it was super, super fast. So, and all I did was outwork people. That was all I did. Like I was like, I know there's people with more experience. I know there's people with more skills. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I will not sleep until this territory is just buzzing. I want a name for myself.
Another key tip and like valuable lesson to take away is just outwork everyone else, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I promise you this, Sidney Crosby was not the best hockey player in Pee Wee. You know what I mean? Like when he was 6 years old, there was someone with a higher aptitude for hockey than him.
Yeah.
He worked harder. When you combine an aptitude for something with a good work ethic, you will go to amazing levels. Yeah, but even if you don't have the aptitude and you just have the work ethic, you will crush it. Do better.
Exactly. And I don't think a lot of people will actually take that in where you don't have to know a lot of this stuff. You don't have to, have a big interest in what it is to begin with.
Yeah.
as long as you just learn and put the work in, like, it's gonna work out, right?
So it's like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work.
100%.
Holy,
100%. 100%.
Exactly what it is.
My thing, and I've heard this quote around, and I probably heard it then. I don't know where exactly I picked it up. Yeah. But the kind of mantra that I said in my head during that time is, I don't sleep when I'm tired. I sleep when I'm done. And I just kept going and kept going. So I would be a maniac, like 3 a.m, just pounding coffee, trying to figure this thing out that I'm not sure of, right? And everybody in there was more educated than me. They had higher credentials. They maybe had been in the industry for way longer than me. But I just kept going, man, and none of them were going to outwork me. There was no way. I wasn't interested in having a girlfriend. I wasn't interested in anything. I was interested in being successful.
That's
because
amazing.
At this point, I had gone through so many ups and downs trying to find myself. I was finally where I wanted to be, and I was like, nobody's taking this shit from me.
Yeah,
nobody.
I know there was definitely a point where the people telling you, like, oh, you won't get to this certain point.
Right.
Obviously, you're putting in that hard work, and they see you doing that. But there's always going to be the couple people that tell you, like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I know you battled through that, and your mind is so set on that one goal. It's like nothing stopping you from achieving that.
That's it.
That's crazy.
And that's...
Yeah, the crazy. So then once again, it was the realization. Like at that point, I was happy, but I always liked working for kind of smaller companies, and this doesn't exist as much there. But as I started moving into the larger corporations, that was where you needed permission to be successful. So it wasn't enough. You had to be good. You also had to be very patient, because you had to go for maybe 10 years before an opening would actually open up. Damn. And then you go from there and you become maybe a sales manager. And then you go from there to a sales director. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, well, these guys have like shit cars and they're alcoholics, and like this isn't the life I want. Like just nothing about this life looks attractive to me. And I'm considering working at this for 20 years to get a life that I don't want. Like no, this is crazy. So yeah, basically ended that, man. That was that was pretty much it, and that was when I decided to get into real estate. Okay. So I think we've talked for like 45 minutes based on the conversation of how you get into real estate.
It's all right, trust me. But I guess my question then was, did you yourself think I want to try real estate, or did someone introduce you?
Actually suggested it. Okay. So shout out, Mom.
Yeah, that's how I started too. Trust me.
That's rare.
It's amazing what happens from kind of throughout your 20s. All of a sudden, your parents get so much smarter, man. Like so much smarter. Yeah. And it's not that they got smarter; it's that you stopped being dumb. But
that's very true.
No, my parents got a lot smarter, because we did not get along in my teenage years necessarily, but so that was basically where we went from there. And my original idea was actually starting a sales consulting business. So I started doing that a little bit.
So you're really good at sales, like at this point. Like you're just like top-notch salesperson.
That was like top of my game, top of my game for sure. So, anyway, so I went and talked to. I was looking at doing this sales consulting business, and I started doing that. And then I was having a conversation with my mom, and she was like, "Have you ever just thought about real estate? I've just always thought you would be really good at that." And she used to work with a real estate developer, so she knew a little bit about the industry, and she recommended that. And my dad had been in sales earlier in his career as well, so he gave me a little familiarity with certain aspects of that. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Like the more I started looking at it, the more I was like, yeah, this is actually pretty legit, because I can actually run my own business, but there's kind of there's a little bit of a blueprint that I can follow. So then I was like, yeah, real estate, this will be easy.
Yeah.
Wrong. Wrong. Yeah, that didn't work. But
I feel too, a lot of people, even I myself, when I very first started, even the thought of real estate, thought, I could definitely get into it, and it's not easy, but simple money, right? Yeah. The actual principles are pretty basic towards what it is. And then I got into it, and I've never been more wrong, right?
Yeah. Same here.
That's what it is.
But it's like the fact that you stuck around with it for this long as well. So it's like the thing that's like, it's something you can just have with you.
Right.
That will just, you can continuously like build your skill in that sense, and continue to like grow your real estate career.
That's
basically.
It. And no, and I love real estate. I'm so thankful for being introduced to it. It gives you an ability to really help people in a lot of really interesting ways. You meet great people. There's some clients that I've had that essentially welcome you into their families. So super grateful for that as a career. And then, if you want to keep going through the story, that was what kind of segued into Vendetta, because all my favorite parts of real estate was the marketing aspect of it. So,
So you already answered like the first original question. So now, I guess you were already about to go into it.
Yeah.
But so really, how did you get into Vendetta, and what is Vendetta Media?
Yeah, that too. I guess my question too with that was, when you were a realtor, did you see the need of Vendetta as being a realtor and thought, that kind of hit you? Obviously, take it forward, go for that. But yeah, how did Vendetta Media?
That was 100%. How are we doing time?
So we're at 25 minutes.
Okay.
No, so I feel like we should just like stop it.
Perfect.
Yeah. So no, that was exactly it. I did see a big need for it, but it wasn't a need that I actually wanted to fill. Okay. Believe it or not. So I was hiring other marketing companies and things like that. And I actually, you know what? I was actually not going to say this, but I'm going to say it. Fuck it. So basically, what happened that actually motivated Vendetta is the guy that I had hired to do my stuff. I sat down and talked to him, broke out a full year of like campaigns, and told him every business move that I wanted to make, because I was looking at him as my marketing guy. Like I did not think this would be like a relationship that was betrayed in any way, shape or form.
Yeah. And
I am more than willing to pay you good money to help me out with this.
Yeah.
I tell this guy this entire plan. Listen to this. I get a call from a friend of mine who's also a realtor. Just randomly, we're just talking, shooting the shit. He's like, "What's been going on? What do you got planned out?" And I told him, he's a friend, I trusted him, so I started telling him this plan that I had basically broken out. And he was like, he's listening to me. I hear him going quiet. And you know when somebody wants to say something, but they don't want to say something? Yeah. He's kind of doing that on the phone. And then he's like, "Who have you told this to?" I'm like, "Literally you and," we'll call him Dickhead. Yeah. Literally you and this guy. And he was like, "He called me yesterday and literally pitched every one of these ideas to me." And I was like, so this motherfucker literally took like this campaign, and let's keep in mind, I'm paying this guy to help build my brand. Yeah. And he's effectively diluting it and profiting off of it. Because this guy, like, don't get me wrong, he's a friend of mine. He still is great guy. The guy I was on the phone with. But let's keep in mind, like, we're literally working the same patch. So like, I didn't really care about him knowing. But this guy did not know that. Like, so I was just it was very serendipitous in terms of, or very coincidental that just happened to be one of the people he talked to. I also, with that, I don't believe that much in coincidence. I kind of think there's probably 10, 15 other people you've probably called with these ideas. So that was it, man. Probably. I went ballistic.
as you should, though.
Ballistic. Yeah. That is the most dirtball fucking move. Like, this guy just he can die. I don't care. I just, pieces of shit like this just shouldn't be on the planet.
So where are your relationships with him now?
I really want him to hear this. So no, I have no qualms about it. I would literally sit face to face. If you know who you are. If you want to come have this conversation, I'm down. Just so you know. I don't like this human. I don't like people like that. Yeah. If you're here to do a job, do the job, do it well. Yeah. Sketchy shit like that because you have a complete lack of creativity, but you're pretending you don't. Yeah. Get out of here with that, man. Exactly. I can't deal with that. Once again, going back to that conversation really early on in the sales career, I was so fortunate to be taught honesty in terms of that selling process. I do not keep liars, bullshit artists,
No,
con artists in my circle.
100%,
They don't stick around. So basically after that, Vendetta still hadn't been formed in my mind yet.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is that where the name came from?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
That's crazy.
Maybe, I don't know. It's also kind of a vendetta against the status quo of marketing.
Definitely.
But definitely there was elements of that in there.
I like that. I like that we're learning about like what's behind this.
Yeah, we're learning the history and everything. Right?
Yeah, I've never watched V for Vendetta. Just so you know, I've never seen it. It has nothing to do with the with the branding. It was a combination of it was that, and also once again a vendetta against the status quo of the marketing industry as as we saw it.
I love the name too. It's
Thanks,
very unique for sure with what it is.
So and that was quite honestly like the first little bit. I realized very quickly you don't want something that's fueled by that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there's some positivity to being angry at somebody.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Or there's some positives to it in terms of that motivator, but you don't want that to be a motivator because it turns your heart black.
Of course.
And also, it can't be your whole
it.
business model, right? Like, yes, it is a motivator, which 100%, like, I agree.
Yeah.
But like you said, it'll only almost backfire on you if that's your whole business model.
Exactly.
It turns you into a miserable person.
That's it.
The problem is you're becoming a miserable person because of this asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like so. I didn't want that kind of darkness in my life, so that's why I really moved it around and turned it into it more morphed very quickly into that vendetta against the status quo. Okay. But kind of jokingly, it was kind of originally the name. So
that's cool. So you mentioned to your one friend on the phone about like all the marketing ideas you had for the year.
Yeah.
So where wasn't Vendetta from that?
Yeah, I guess from that. Right?
So basically, I wrote this man a very strongly worded text message. Yeah. And by the way, this guy was also flying drone illegally. He had Transport Canada call me at the same time. Like, this is happening within like a day. Transport Canada calls me and says, because I worked with this guy, they're going to fine me $20,000. And I'm like,
holy shit.
Okay. So
damn.
They didn't, there were, it was more of a scare tactic, but still, when you compound those two, at this point, you're just
definitely.
Yeah, that guy is like dead to you.
Oh my god! I not yet, but I wish. So, anyways, he So what I originally started doing is looking at other companies. It was still not in my mind in terms of this is how what we can do. It wasn't even like a thought. And then as I started talking to these different marketing companies, I was like, this is becoming super arduous. And the reason it was so arduous is because graphic design, I'm going over here. Photography, I'm going over here. Videography and cinematography, I'm going over here. Social media management, I'm over here. It wasn't even the hard costs associated with working with these various marketing agencies. It was the soft cost. I was on my phone with these people all day. I have like things to do, right?
Definitely within that time period too, I feel as if there wasn't a company for the whole package where now, especially your company, and I know even like within Toronto, there's a lot of companies, even online, whatever, they'll complete the whole package, right? It'll be social media management, everything all in one. So you're not outsourcing everything, 100%. Different prices, paying up the ass for whatever it is, 100%. Right? It's all kind of in a package.
So this was, what year was this? This is like 2000...
No, this is like 2017.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is so Vendetta is in its fourth year now. So
Okay.
So pretty recent. Like it's really not that long ago. We've been very fortunate with the growth that we experienced, but
that's insane.
Yeah. So It was really just a huge hole in the market. And I'm sure, with that said, I don't want to take clout from anybody else. I'm sure there were other companies doing it. I just couldn't find them at that time where they were doing it, but also doing it effectively. And that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves in Vendetta. when you become that all-inclusive solution, you need to be very, very careful when you've got all these different arms of the company that one of them doesn't suck, right?
Exactly.
That it needs to be that same quality right across the board. Right? Amazing videographers, amazing graphic designers, amazing website designers. Right across the board, we need tip-top professionals, because I've never been interested in being that like bootleg bargain brand. We want to charge what we're worth. Like, I'm also not trying to charge more than these products are worth, but we always want to make sure that we're in that premium area, because the way I look at it, this is my view on business. And it's actually a Zig Ziglar quote, but the way I look at it is, I would rather have a conversation with you about price once than apologize for shit service and bad products over and over and over again for our entire relationship.
A good example too would be like, you could buy a belt anywhere, but like people specifically go to Gucci and Louis for the quality and for what it is, right? Again, you could find photographers, videographers anywhere. You can search on the internet. You can find good prices. You can find whatever. What is the value and what is the service that they're providing?
Exactly. And even from us, like experiencing like your service, for example, like when we did our videos, like we were even sitting there like wow, you were like super professional about everything you do. Like,
you were like literally helping us through the video.
Yeah, right? You guys crushed it, man. You guys did great.
The quality of everything's amazing. Of course, when we were just talking about like your setup and like look at the studio we're in right now.
Exactly.
It's like, right? He puts his money where his mouth is, or yeah.
I guess it's just worth it. It's always making sure that no one has anything to complain about with the product, and always doing exactly what we commit to, exactly what we promise we're going to do, and that is to me, your brand is your reputation.
100%.
Right? And that's the thing that's super, super important to me, is making sure that we're a strong brand that helps people. And that's the amazing thing about marketing. You go to some of these companies, like obviously the one I was using before, they're just trying to make money for themselves. Marketing, running a marketing agency like that, I find it amazing, because I don't really have to take any money. I make you money and get a little piece of that based on the product. So that's what we teach all of our guys. We're not trying to charge people money. We're trying to make them money. And essentially it makes the product free, provided we accomplish that.
Literally,
as long as your customers grow, you grow 10 times more with them.
100%.
And again, that
100%.
That ties perfectly into the third question.
all right.
Which is, how when did you see kind of the local growth? Because I know within the community, Durham, GTA, you are absolutely the number one like go-to media brand.
Thank you.
Whether it be videography, photography, whatever it is. Again, I know my brokerage has a partnership with you where you're at all the events, filming everything and everything. But where did you kind of see?
Not so much since COVID. But
unfortunately, not since COVID. But
we love CLC. We love our relationship with so many people.
It's amazing,
big
right?
people in there. It's really a great. It's a very special mortgage broker.
Definitely,
and I think a lot of our views are very aligned in that regard.
100%, right? But yeah, that's I guess the question. Where did you kind of see the local growth really taking off? And when did you see like, holy shit, like I'm partnered with CLC, multiple mortgage agents are under me. Literally you're at events. I know you did a commercial for Hollywood Cone. Like, when did you see all this growth taking off where you're like, what the fuck, right?
So basically at the point where it's like, damn, so Vendetta's really something.
So it was interesting, because when it first launched, so you always have and with marketing, and for anyone marketing like a new product, a brand, something like that, you need to understand who is going to be focused at different stages of your progression. So when you first start, you essentially have the people that are early adapters and generally neophiliacs, and who those are people with kind of a propensity for luxury, the things that are new. They're actually very forgiving about things fucking up, because they're excited about being with the new company, being with the young guns. You know what I mean? Like they're that group. So we were super, super fortunate, and initially we had some of those people. But the really interesting thing is a lot of those people are still with us. Like one of our clients, Anna, who I just absolutely love, and it's been amazing watching her career grow as well. She was actually, I think, the second phone call I ever got from Vendetta. So, it's a really cool relationships that we built with people. But you need to go through that initial phase where the only people that are really going to want to work with you are those early adapters and the neophiliacs. Like those are the main people that are going to fuck with you at that point.
Of course.
Then you go from there, and once you're a bit more proven. From my experience, that's when a lot of the doors open up, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that'll be paying attention to your brand, but they'll kind of hang back a little bit and go, I'm going to let these early adapters either sink or swim with this brand.
Okay. Yeah.
And if they're still around and I see success over here, then we'll buy into it, right?
And that's like with like anything. It's like even like, I know you can even say this and we can even say this, like you see like a new brand that may have something you're interested in, but you're not really gonna like dabble into like what they have because they're so new, and like you don't know like the quality of what they're bringing to the table, basically.
Yep.
So it's like you wait to see their success, and then you jump in. So basically, exactly what you just said.
It's definitely a credit factor, and you can even tie it into actual like money credit in the sense where like banks and lenders will look at you. Let's say you just got a credit card, they're not loaning you shit.
Exactly.
2 years down the road,
Prove
though,
yourself.
you proved yourself. You showed that you have credit of paying off what it is, and that's kind of the same with business. You show that you're providing the value you're saying, the services you're saying, and you're on point with the delivery, right?
I couldn't agree more. Yeah,
that's
100%. And actually, the credit card analogy, I've never thought of that before, but it's actually perfect.
I just thought that on the spot, I'll be completely honest.
All right, let's switch seats. But that's actually a really great way to put it, and it's a really perfect example of what we were talking about before, where it's that patience in the long term, but operating with urgency in the short term, and that's what we're doing. So at that point, it started kind of taking off.
Definitely.
And I'm sitting there going like, oh, this is like a fucking thing. Like, this could actually be a thing. Don't screw this up.
Definitely.
And the first while was just, once again, I went right back to that mode that we talked about before, where sleep was not a thing. Because now I had too much to do. Yeah. I just had to keep going, man.
I bet. Trust me.
So now I'm like, I don't think we got into this. I don't mean to be like braggadocious, when I was in real estate, I was like top 10% of realtors in Canada. I'm still in real estate, but at that time I was top 10% of realtors in Canada. Now that's dropped down a little bit because a lot of my focus is divided between the two. But I was still operating at that pitch in real estate, and suddenly brought this whole new game into my life.
And that's hard. Like, it's definitely not easy.
And I actually meant to mention that earlier with the fact that you had real estate awards and everything too. Like, your sales career in that sense, like, it was just going crazy, right?
Yeah,
like, you have awards, now you're starting off your own business, just
and really to, like,
insane.
look back, like, see where it all started? He started off that sales career job.
Yeah.
And, like, top 10% and basically, because real estate is like a sales job.
Yeah.
You're really selling to people. So it's like, you can kind of see where it came from your early years, and how that affected you, and look at where you are now, like you said.
Exactly.
If you crazy. Take the perspective, really take the perspective that nobody will outwork you.
Yeah.
Amazing things happen. But I mean, I don't mean just say it. Everyone talks about wanting to be the best, wanting to be successful, wanting to do this. I want.
Yeah.
Very few people shut the fuck up and actually do what's required, right? Yeah. It's really easy to talk on social media. It's really easy to flex. At the end of the day, it's also really hard when nobody's watching, there's no likes, it's a lonely situation, and you're just sitting there. You do not have time for a girlfriend. You haven't seen your family in a while. You are tunnel visioned on this shit, and your friends are going, "Hey, dude, are you dead?" And you're just working until your eyes feel like they're gonna, until your eyes are on fire at 4 in the morning. You just have to go, right? Yeah. But it's just one of those things where just remember, someone else will do it. Someone else will do that. You know what I mean? So it's either
why not be you, right?
It's either going to be you or it's going to be them.
And
there's something really interesting and something that I get very obsessed with when I get into that mode of like, I want to see how good I can do here. And really like, how good am I? How far can I push it? How much can I achieve? And that's where it gets really really interesting from my perspective. So that was pretty much that. So sorry, where were we on?
Honestly, that ties into so it was the growth, and then it kind of ties into my next question.
Sorry, the growth happened. It was kind of incremental. Started going up. Then things started really getting proven.
Yeah.
And then we had some people in the very beginning that were just bad choices. You know, just people. Yeah. There was people in the beginning. You have to go through those processes because even I was going into a space that I really wasn't familiar with, right? Okay, so suddenly I'm working with graphic designers as an example, or videographers, and you don't completely know how to vet these people. So it's kind of like, okay, I get a good vibe. Let's do our thing. And ran into definitely some unfortunate situations as a result of that, but learned lessons. And then we started bringing in some people that, if anyone follows Vendetta, it's some of the usual suspects that people would know. So Migs came into the fold after the first few months. That was
these are your employees.
Yeah. These are my guys. So at this point, they're my boys. You know what I mean. Yeah. Like we're a very
close knit.
I'm very careful to never call us a family in work because it's a lie. Yeah. A family implies unconditional love.
No matter what. Right?
They don't feel about me like they feel about their dad. I could definitely do shit that makes them not want to talk to me again. I liken it to being on a team because in that situation, if you think about a sports team, you can have, if you guys play hockey or something as an example, you guys can play that. You guys can love each other. You guys can be family off the ice. But at the end of the day, if one of you isn't putting it in the net, the coach is going to say, sorry, you can't be on the team anymore. Oh, and 100%. You guys can still be friends and you can still be family and that's all good. But at the end of the day, if you ever get a boss saying that we're a family, it's just a lie because it's an implication of unconditional love. And the reality is it's a performance-based situation. So I don't like to lie to anybody. I make sure everybody knows knows what's going on in the game.
Yeah.
And but at the end of the day, somebody like Migs, one of our first intern, Jacob, these are really outside of work my family. Like these are the people that when I have great things happen, I want to reach out and share them with these guys and girls, right? And then as things have grown, now we've brought even more people into the fold, and it's just a really amazing culture and synergy, and everybody's very much on board in terms of like pushing this cause forward and doing as much good as we can in this world.
And that's what you need, especially when you're hiring employees. Like as soon as they feel like they have that type of like family environment, they're like instantly willing to get their work done. They're not 100%. Like they're not like coming here saying like, damn, I have to come back to this job every day.
Yeah, it's like
they're just there and they're like ready to get things done. And it just doesn't even feel like work to them probably.
It's like a second home. Right?
Yeah, that's it. And the way I treat it is you really need to focus on not creating these like crazy expectations for other people. So I always just try and help everybody as much as humanly possible. Some people are going to appreciate it and have that gratitude. Some people aren't, and those are the people that we make sure are out of the fold really quickly. But my absolute favorite thing about Vendetta, my absolute favorite thing, I love helping clients and making their businesses better. But my absolute favorite thing is taking these amazing creatives, amazing artists, people like that, who have this great hobby but don't necessarily know how to monetize that, right? And now you give them this opportunity. Maybe it's not exactly what they want to be doing. Like today you got to do a real estate listing or this, that, the other thing. But it's definitely my favorite thing is seeing these people that otherwise realistically had this passion that they were having trouble finding that direction. Yeah. and then we bring them in here and show them exactly how you can be extremely successful doing that. So you look at some of the people that started, like Migs is a great example.
Yeah.
He's crushing it, just
100%,
absolutely crushing life, man. So we have an amazing team. I'm super grateful for everybody that's in here, and you know, look forward to who the future players are going to be going to be as well. But that's my favorite thing about Vendetta. It's the part that I find most rewarding.
So another thing, Steve, I know that my sister did co-op with you, and I just wanted to say, like, the fact too that Vendetta has come that far, where now you're going into people's high schools, you're able to convince the teachers, like, hey, this is something valuable for high school students to learn.
Right.
And honestly, I don't know if my sister was the first co-op you did in that sense.
She was actually, yeah. So, and totally right. That your sister was the reason that we thought about doing that.
See,
right?
like come on, that's amazing. And one other thing I just want to mention in that sense is, like, I know I was in high school and I wanted to do co-op. Unfortunately, we didn't even know each other back then.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I was looking for some co-op options within real estate, even seeing if I could go with my mom into the mortgage brokers' offices, connect with people in that sense. Big thank you. Again, I did mention at the beginning, but that's another reason that Steve and I connected through my mom, who is also a mortgage agent. But so when I was in high school, looking for co-op when I was my sister's age, grade 11, grade 12, I would have killed to have an opportunity as such to come 100%. In, learn from someone in entrepreneurship within real estate and actually taking action within, you know, growing their own business. Yeah. And the fact, too, that you've been able to now convince teachers and they're, 100%, go for it. Do that as co-op, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Like, how did that kind of make you feel, though, where you're like, this is kind of legit now, you know what I mean? Like,
dude, the weirdest part about that is talking to teachers and having them be my peers.
Yeah.
Like, that's the weirdest part, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, I quite honestly have a lot of not great opinions about the school system in some ways. And it was interesting because when your mom originally approached me about your sister coming in here, I was kind of like, how honest do you want me to be about my thoughts on school? Because I mean, I think she was 16 at the time, 16, 17.
Yeah,
so,
you got it.
Anyways, your mom was super cool about that stuff, and it was a great, like, starting point for kind of opening that up, and it really opened our eyes to the fact that we can make an even bigger difference to young people. And really, I think personally, I think we do really great things for those those co-op students, because we don't treat them like co-op students. We get them going away.
And again, I
hope your sister had a good time.
I was literally gonna say, she loved it, and like even to this day, now she's helping my mom with social media posts and
That's
stuff. Right?
Awesome.
She knows too within the stuff now she's doing for schooling, kind of what to do when it comes to online stuff.
That's awesome.
Even like Word documents, whatever it may be. Now she's a lot more educated, and she sees a perspective from a professional as you, right?
And that's actually like a perfect opportunity for someone like, for example, her age, because like
I would have killed to do it.
Yeah, you're growing up in the age of like social media, and there's not many like people like really like letting you dabble into like how you can make money from social media.
Right.
So that's like a perfect experience and like a perfect way for her to learn like different like avenues.
For sure.
And like the fact that you can like even provide that to students and stuff like that is like amazing.
And she was in the field, seeing you guys every day record, going to different places.
That's it.
I mean, I remember picking up and dropping her off to the office here, whatever it may be. The fact that, you know, she's away from the school environment and actually seeing how real life works outside of school, mind blowing.
That's really I find the co-op students generally do a lot of maturing when they come in here, because we throw them right into it.
That's
like,
it,
we
right?
don't shelter them. We put them right into a role and try and. I mean, when I say we don't shelter them, we make sure that it's kind of a safe space for them, and they have a nice safety net below them. But we really give them an opportunity to really fly when
almost like you said, like find themselves, right? It helps them kind of, you know, like it puts it into perspective. Like, shit, this is actually doable.
That's it, man. And one thing that drives me absolutely crazy when I hear all the shit talking that people do about millennials and things like that. It's ridiculous. I'm sure you guys have come up against some of that prejudice. It's crazy, man. And the reality is, I will tell you this: I mean, I'm technically a millennial because I'm born in '83, so I think the technical definition is like early '80s. So I'm like an old ass millennial, but I don't think I'm the guy they're talking about when they talk about that. They're more talking about like your age group.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, all the things I hear about millennials were the exact same thing that they were saying about me when I was coming up. It was the exact same thing they were saying about Gen X. It's probably the same thing they were saying about the hippie generation. Probably the same thing they were saying about baby boomers. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Every generation kind of has their pros and their cons. At the end of the day, I think millennials have a really great understanding of. Now this is the thing. It always stands out when there's like the bad apple. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be those people. But at the end of the day, one thing that I absolutely love about millennials is the access to information that you guys have actually grown up with. Where so one of the when I was saying that one of my favorite things is kind of the opportunities that we create for people here. Just the reality on the reality on that is when I was in high school, I really like I have like VHSs of like random edits I did and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it. Like it was something that I thought was cool, but it was also something I saw no career path for. It was like go be a cameraman for CTV, you know, stuff like that. So I really believe that if I had come up in this generation, if I had come up in this time, I would have been following a very similar career path to the ones that like a lot of my guys and our people here are doing. So it's one of the things that's part of the reason that I take that pride is giving those people that outlet to I mean they do it themselves, to be clear. I'm not doing anything for them except just making that opportunity available and giving them the time the ability to run with it. But your sister was great, and first co-op student, but suddenly talking to teachers and realizing like we are talking about a student was super weird because I still feel like a kid. Like,
that's it, right? And again, I feel like I mean, in my opinion, your business has been legitimized, but I feel like the fact that now teachers are willing to take it in and this is under curriculum, this is actually falls under something that students can learn.
Right.
Just, I bet it puts something else into your mind, like a light, and you're like, holy shit. Like, again, this is another source of almost confirmation that you're on the right path.
You know what? I'll be honest with you, man. Those realizations, I try and stay kind of as humble as possible. I think there's something to be said for being confident.
Yep.
But also understanding that at any moment it can go away.
Agreed.
At any moment someone can come outwork you, just like we were talking about before. It's very fragile in that sense, and I find. Once again, you can be confident about your abilities, but you need to be very humble with it. Those are the type of thoughts, to be honest with you, they don't pop into my head. It's someone else tells me. It's someone on the crew goes, "Hey, have you noticed this?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's actually pretty cool." But so as you're saying that, that's cool. Yeah. But from my perspective, that wasn't so much it. So my perspective, just so you guys know,
definitely.
And I really appreciate everything you've said about Vendetta and all the nice things that you've said. To me, we are scratching the surface of where I actually want to take this.
Can't wait to see then.
Yeah, like that's the mindset.
There's going to be VDOTs in the sky. We've got some pretty big stuff coming.
I'm looking forward to that.
So, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, anyone watching, give at Vendetta Media Group a follow or at the Steve Kirk
again,
show,
it'll all be within the description, and then obviously when we post the videos and everything too. So.
That kind of ties into like literally like our next question. So it's like, what would you give like a 20-year-old yourself? Like, what advice would you give a 20-year-old yourself like now? Like,
like if you were sitting here 20 years old and you're still there yourself as of right now.
For sure.
So what was, I guess, the three main things that you would say to yourself?
So basically like for us.
Yeah, for sure. So number one, which I think you guys you guys absolutely have, because I'm just so you guys know, just to put the compliment where it belongs, I'm so impressed with your hustle, your drive, the stuff you guys are doing online. I find you're really embracing this new school marketing method and doing it in a very effective way. So I know you guys were saying you're still kind of scratching at it, and trying to make your progress. You should be right now. You know what I mean? Like you just should be, and that's just the way it is. But serious kudos to you guys, because I've been following for a while. I love what you guys are doing with anything financial. As soon as I saw this podcast come up, it was like, whatever I can do to support, I'm totally down. But yeah, in terms of top 3 advice, the number 1 is the work ethic thing.
Okay.
You do not know anybody who has become successful without the work. Okay. Like you do not know that person. And there are the outliers. There's the lottery winners. There's the trust fund babies. Like these people exist in the world, but the reality is there's no point getting mad about it. You're not gonna change it.
No point in losing energy over stuff you literally cannot control whatsoever. Exactly. The thing you can control though is how much work you put in, right? That's it exactly. You put that work in, amazing things are gonna happen. Now the one thing I will say about that, so one saying that I hate with a passion is work smart, not hard. I don't understand why you have to do one and not the other. Like why people create that dichotomy. I don't understand why you're not working smart and hard. Yeah. I'm all about that view on it. But a lot of people, you can hear through little things within just the human consciousness, like that, where it's people trying to be lazy. Get that out of your fucking head, man. Like there's nothing wrong with working smart. Yeah. But why that means you stop working hard baffles me. Like that is my number one saying that I just can't deal with. The other one I can't deal with is fake it till you make it. We can go into that one later. But yeah, that one specifically, work smart, not hard. Work smart and hard. Yeah. No, with that quote though, I honestly personally never even thought of it like that. Where why not do both? And I completely agree. And it's not that I haven't thought of it as in do both. It's just more when people say it, I'm like, I guess yes, that does make sense in certain ways of people saying it. Whatever may be, you can be more efficient within the work. But why not, if you're being more efficient, now you can put in more hours to something else that you want to learn, right? Or whatever it may be.
I don't understand why it doesn't just stop at work smart. Yeah. Work smart, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And then work your fucking ass off.
That's it, right?
And see what happens.
If you're going to work, just do it, and again, do it smart.
In no way should you work inefficiently. Yep. That's just dumb. That doesn't make any sense. But work smart and hard.
Yeah, and working smart kind of means being self-aware and understanding you yourself as a person. So obviously if there's certain things that you need to change, because of course there can be somebody that could be working really hard, but they have that one thing that's holding them back from really achieving their goals. Yeah, absolutely. And that comes in tied with being self-aware, so knowing what you really need to change as a person. Yep. So you can work smart and hard at the same time.
That's it. And the other piece of advice that I think I'd have specifically for people in your age group coming up, understand and appreciate the advantages that you guys actually have in this in this world, specifically as a result of technology. So
that's holy.
You guys are extremely lucky in the sense that your entire life you have had access to information. Yep. I'm extremely lucky because I remember what it's like to not have it. So I appreciate it. You know what I mean? You guys can't help but kind of take it for granted. The internet's just always been a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was not something that existed for me. So sometimes when I even still when I Google information, I'm so blown away when I take a step back and go this is the type of thing that I had to get on my bike, ride to a library that had a fraction of the information that my phone has readily available to it.
That's exactly.
And I can kind of agree with that. I mean, no, it's so much with the technology aspect where again, I've grown up with it. I've always had a cell phone in that sense, whatever. But even just through the past 6 months, as I was speaking to you privately with me trading Forex and everything, I'll be in my room making money off my phone, and I'm just so mind blown at the fact that I am in my room.
It's so huge.
Trading stuff, trading commodities, whatever it may be, and I'm actually making money. It just I still to this day cannot understand that concept, and it just blows my mind. I'm sure you're the exact same with even the fact that we're recording this, whatever it may be, right? It's just so mind blowing.
And it's just the different
can't even put
avenues you have available to you. So it's almost there's no reason. There's always different ways to make money, and it's and Nolan said, it's kind of crazy. I'll literally be sitting in my room and just just shocked. Like if you take that step back and you're like, wow, like I know for a fact, like people like a couple years ago didn't even have access or like
exactly.
You guys, we took a break. I came back. You guys are checking stocks and seeing how much money you made while we sat here having this podcast.
Literally,
it's great, man. It's so good.
Yeah.
No, it's really it's truly an amazing thing. And then. The funny thing is, I want to make sure that it's clear. None of these things that I'm saying are static. These are as of today, and I'm just thinking of them off the top of my head. So I mean, these could change in the future. But the other one, don't necessarily follow your passion.
Okay.
And this is I think this is a fallacy that we have given to kids for years, and I think it's a huge disservice that we've done. And it's really fucking easy for like a celebrity, so whoever just won an Emmy, to stand up there because they were lucky enough to have their passion and something that motivated them really align. And this sounds like a very romantic notion, and that's and that's great. But what if my what if my passion was to be a basketball player? Yeah. It's not gonna work out, man. Like what if my passion is to be a horse jockey or something? Yeah. There's certain times where your passion doesn't necessarily make sense.
Yep.
So don't get too wrapped up on that, and don't think every aspect of your life needs to be fun and enjoyable in every second. It should be rewarding. It should be fulfilling. But let's go back to that gym mentality. You're not going to enjoy every rep. You're not going to enjoy every time you go to the gym. You're going to enjoy the feeling of accomplishment that comes with it.
Facts.
And that is one thing that, and I'm not going to say millennials, because I think this is just a young person thing. Yep. You know, like people are learning. But that's one thing that sometimes comes up. You can see somebody's trying to have fun in literally every aspect of their life 24/7, and it's just not reasonable.
No, work is work for a reason, right? Although work can be fun, majority of the time you're gonna have to do tasks where you don't like, right? You just got to eat the bullet, just fucking do it.
Your passion might be a great hobby. If I love basketball, I mean, go play basketball, man. Like go do it. But me trying to make a career out of it would be a very huge waste of resources.
And I can agree to that, because I myself, like up till 14, 15, I'm making the NHL.
Of course you were.
I'm the next Connor McDavid, whatever it is. And then I
thank you for taking time out of the schedule to
sit down with us, by the way. But then it hit me. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's 100%, man. Like it's a really common thing. And people just need to be super real with themselves and super aware of that. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole, but you just need to be very real. So
true.
Someone as an example, Kevin O'Leary, love him, hate him. I mean, you have to respect him from a success perspective. But he said he had this huge passion for photography, but it didn't motivate him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Business motivated him. Yeah. Business got him out of bed every day and made him want to get up and accomplish something. So as a result, in his downtime, he's an amateur photographer. Damn. And as a career, he's a business person.
Making billions.
That's what motivates you. So I think it's really important to seek what actually motivates you, because that makes life so much easier. And a lot of people confuse that passion for motivation.
Yeah.
There's lots of things I'm passionate about that I am not nearly as motivated by as I am vendetta and business and real estate and things like that.
That's a great way to look at it. And like, that's just opening my eyes too, where it's like, yes, the thing that motivates you and like the thing that you're passionate about can be a hobby, where the thing that motivates you is going to make you a living, right?
Your passion might be stupid.
Right? That's it. No,
sorry.
That's it.
It might be stupid.
But that's a good way, like, if you create that life of, almost freedom, then you can pursue your passion as a hobby and you can still enjoy it, right?
Yeah. That's it, man. Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, bring it with you in your life. Mm-hmm. But don't necessarily. It's not necessarily going to be a career.
Yeah,
and that's just real. You know what I mean? So I guess that would probably be off the top of my head.
Yeah,
my three biggest pieces of advice: perfect. Work hard, find what motivates you, and if that's your passion, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then whatever the fuck the second thing I said.
Yeah. You just go back, it's there.
Yeah, rewind.
Again, though, those are three
solid,
amazing points to take away. I took notes in my head mentally there, 100%. And then just the last question to kind of wrap this whole conversation podcast episode up.
Yeah.
If you had to start over, what would be the main one thing that you would do to kind of, I guess, either put you into the same position as today, or like if you lost it all, what would you do?
Yeah.
I know. I think 100%. It's a crazy.
You take a little second to think about that one.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty interesting question. How are we doing on the timer there?
We have a good 9 minutes.
All right,
Okay,
perfect.
Actually, we'll give it like 8.
I can do that.
Yeah.
No, that's a good. So this is what I know. Okay. And once again, getting back to the things I'm confident in, the things I'm motivated by, I know I can sell. The first thing I would be doing is finding a sales job where I'm paid what I am actually worth to the company.
So you're not getting paid based on you're not getting paid based on time you put in. It's based on how good the value you're bringing.
Yeah, and I mean, this is all dependent on this is really all dependent on what your skill set is, right?
Okay,
I have that skill set of sales,
definitely.
But other people might not be able to fit exactly into that box. But everybody should have that kind of fallback thing that they know they're good at. Mm-hmm. That they can always jump into if everything was to burn down.
It's actually very true.
So yeah, I mean the first thing I would do is you just have to survive. So you need to make your money, and I know I can do that, and I know I can fall back on that, and I'll be just fine. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the main thing that is going to be so important and serve you kind of through your life is making sure that your reputation is intact. So when you hit those hard times, the reality is it's super easy to be a good guy when things are good in your life.
Yeah,
of course.
It gets real hard when your bank account goes to zero. You know what I mean? It gets real hard to kind of maintain that integrity sometimes when life goes bad. So that would be the other thing, is focusing on making sure that I'm maintaining that, making sure that I'm helping as many people as possible, and making sure that I'm bringing value to the world in literally every way possible.
Okay.
I know through the laws of reciprocity that if I do that, things will work out.
That's
and you've seen that in your life. It's like you're providing value to certain people, and you're getting reciprocated. Just based on their growth as people.
The main part with that is making sure that there isn't like you're not expecting that to come back. So when I talk about the laws of reciprocity, it's not like I do something for you, then Khalil, I'm going to call you up in a week and go, okay, now it's time to do a favor for me. It's not like that. It's that when you help those people out, sometimes you have to deal with the fact that there's going to be people who use you, or there's people that aren't going to see that vision you have. But if you stay true to yourself, help people as much as you can, and truly bring value in every interaction that you possibly can, people see that selflessness. They see how humble you are, and they want you on their team in one way or another. So that's the other part that if Vendetta ever went away, I feel like I would get a job with one of my clients. Like someone would hire me. You know what I mean?
There's lots of stuff. You just, again, reciprocating the same energy that you're already providing. Like, I feel like that would almost equal another team. You have another thing. Because the fact that, and I've realized this too, the past, I guess 2 years, I could say, if you provide value, if you're being valuable in that sense, like, it's only going to pay off, right? You're not, even if you won't see the payoff right away, it's still putting something in the back of, like, in your bank. Whatever 100%. It may be, right? It's going to pay off eventually. You just got to keep at it. So.
That's it, man.
And it's, like, very true, like, that Steve definitely, like, we've seen them do that. Because, like, for example, like, he saw us starting a podcast, and his first thing was, like, he has a podcast studio being set up. Like, and his first thing was to reach out and be like, come shoot an episode with me.
Didn't even hesitate. You guys can come. Like, anything. Bring your equipment. Anything you need. You guys are there. Let's do it. Right. And that's like that's just true support and appreciation, which is now going to pay off to you in some way or another. Right?
And that's not just a lesson from me. The whole reason you guys got that invite is because you're not assholes. We've worked together before, and I like you. You know what I mean? Like I know you're good people.
Yeah.
And really looked forward to the opportunity to help out however I could. But
we appreciate it 100%.
Hey man, I honestly had a blast, guys. Like I had so much fun. So
listen, we might have to do another episode.
Honestly, dude, you guys let me know. I feel like we only scratched the surface.
I know you could. I swear we could keep just talking for hours 100%. And hours. Honestly, the fact that 2 hours have went by, it feels like 20 minutes. 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
There is loads of value throughout this episode. Like you could definitely rewind this and go through certain like different things throughout your life and like that we talked about. Like there's something in everything that we talked about.
Re-listen to it to take it in. You know what I mean? Just like, it's been facts this whole time.
I appreciate that, boys. I really do.
Do you have anything else you'd want to say?
Yeah, just
I don't have any more questions.
I mean that's it. I quite honestly, guys, I didn't come on here with an agenda other than like let's shoot the shit. I wanted to get to know you guys a little bit better and just crush it. So I mean, I'd appreciate it if people give us a follow on on social.
100%. Do you want to shout out your
yeah, man. So at the Steve Kirk shows my personal, we have some really cool content about to start dropping there.
Yeah.
And then at Vendetta Media Group for the for the media side and for your real estate needs at Steve the Real Estate Guy.
Okay, that sounds great. Do you have any questions you have for us? Any last questions for us or?
So what motivated you guys to actually start this
podcast?
Yeah.
Where's our timer at? Where's our timer at?
Yeah.
Good question. Okay, we have a good 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll just wrap up.
So I got 5% battery, so I think that works.
So quickly, just to end it off, I guess for us, honestly, it's like we do like putting out content, and it's like honestly gives us another way for us to bring value to other people. So it's like, for example, we have people like you coming on the podcast, and they hear things like what we've been talking about for the past 2 hours, and like they're as long as somebody learns something from it, because we learned something from it. So as long as like we can provide what we're learning to other people, it's like that makes us feel good. In a sense.
The fact that I guess like our big thing is now I guess getting guests on, and the fact of people who've been seeking success, who've been successful. The fact that we got to pick your brain for 2 hours, got to know you, made the connection in that sense, and now people as well who are gonna listen to it, they have something to take away from it,
100%,
and they kind of see to what we're thinking when we're talking to other people who the people our age are listening. They can now see how we're going about talking to you guys, successful people, right?
100%.
So that's again just bringing the value and we've been thinking about it now for almost a year. Just said fuck it, let's start it. Let's see where it takes us, right? Let's see where it takes us.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
That would actually be another piece of advice. Move fast. Move fast. If your risk assessment's low, just move fast.
Definitely.
But take the leap of faith.
No, guys, I love what you guys are doing. There's no question to me that you guys will be extremely successful in your lives. Been super impressed with watching what you guys are doing, and once again, I mean that connection with Nolan's family and just our connection from before.
Yeah,
of course.
It's been fun watching you guys grow, and I really look forward to. I really look forward to watching you guys keep doing that. So one day when your names are up in lights, don't forget the little guys.
Of course.
I hope I get an invite to that party.
Oh, you'll be at all the parties. Trust
honestly, thanks again, Steve, for having us. Like, we
pleasure,
really appreciate it. You're an amazing person. And honestly, like, you will definitely be a guest on our podcast soon.
Yeah, and again,
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for allowing us to come to the studio, the mics, the amazing sound quality, editing, everything. Thank you, Steve.
I got you guys. And thanks so much for having me on. I really had a blast, and I guess we should say goodbye to these guys.
I guess to wrap it up, stay seeking success. That's the end of the Seeking Success podcast.
Boom. Thank you, everyone.